Standard FOPs right now. No one doing anything crazy. The Blaskowitz coming in there, so I would expect... the Galane, I guess, is going to... So a little bit light, I think, on the health pools overall there for FortyLions. Disco went with a bit more of, I think, a standard layout.
Galane has become very popular. I've noticed recently, maybe, I don't know if it's, people seeing other people, playing or just from their own experiences, in their practice games, but seeing a lot more Galena getting a play on these maps.
All right, so jumping into it again, looks like they're happy with it. At least Disco is. So before we jump into the game. Okay, cool. It looks like both players are okay with
things
it.
are even.
So we should be good now to jump in and actually, we'll get this match started. And it once again is going to be, just like on our last map there, we're going to be jumping into Corrupted Keep for this one. So you can expect some very quick and some very close action between these two players. As just like we saw with id. Probably not as aggressive. Id was definitely having a little bit of fun with that last match there, especially towards the end of it. But I think this one will be a little bit more evenly matched overall.
Round begins in 3, 2, 1. Round 1, fight.
Alright, so let's start it off. Galena spawned for FortyLions as he picks that as his first champion. Disco, he's going to move over to the Ranger. And 40 trying to take an initial duel here, but he only has the machine gun, so probably not going to want to stick in that for too long. Does get a good, like, 30-40 damage off, though, but that's going to be pretty easily recovered here by Disco at this point. As now he's actually locked him down in the corner. Only 16 HP remaining. 40 has to make a run for 8 now, and the final bullet comes in from the MG on Disco as he's already claimed the first kill. 40 on the respawn, looking for some sort of traded damage here, but he's still on the run and being chased. Tries to escape with a dire orb, but Disco, no remorse at all. He's already claimed the second kill now.
Yeah, nice initial engagement where Disco, he kind of faked one direction, jumped out, made FortyLions comfortable to go, one way, and he came back around and came in with a nice LG and finished him with the machine gun. That was good. And then, of course, the spawn frag. I mean, now he's in command right now, so he's in a position to get super aggressive and just go for the finish.
Disco trying to hunt down the final location of 40 at this point. Having a little bit of trouble locating where exactly he went to.
40's got to be careful being over here right now.
Oh, nice spot there. Gets a lot of damage off in the LG. Tries to port up on top of the dire, but not getting a lot done currently. LG's definitely been his prime weapon to do some damage with. He's going to move over top here now to try and continue that fight. But, right at the last second, traps FortyLions into a corner and does claim that final kill. As he goes 3-0 in the first round.
Prepare to fight.
Disco looking strong, looking really strong. 40's going to have to make an adjust.Got to work on, watch out on those spawn frags. He's letting Disco, get comfortable, and he's starting to run on him. So you got to be careful when somebody gets that kind of confidence. They start running on you. It's really hard to stop the momentum.
We'll keep our eyes on Disco here for the start of this round. As he's trying to hunt him down, doing a lot of work with the nail gun there, actually. A little bit of trouble locking down, but a great port on the dire right in front of him. Just can't get the great tracking there with the nail gun, unfortunately. He's having trouble connecting some of those hits. So he's going to slow it down a little bit, trying to take this pacing slow. He's got to be careful. His opponent is camping inside of that totem. Gone now, of course. He has destroyed it, but has lost the location of his opponent. As the Galena does run away. Nice direct rocket it too. Disco didn't even seem to be aware of what happened there at first. Kind of got stunned by it. So he's got to go on the run for a few moments here to try and recover some of his health pool. Nice movement from Disco as well, actually. Moving around. There for those pickups in a really clean fashion. Now locks down his opponent into the room, and there you go. Perfect turnaround from Disco after being brought incredibly low by a direct rocket hit. And I think he's going to try to go for the spawn frag as well.
Yeah, 40 a little careless running into the room like that, and it was a good setup ambush by Disco, just kind of listening, and he knew he was coming, so he's sitting there with the rocket launcher, and landed those nice shots that he set up for.
Disco, once again, keep himself quiet as he does try to figure out exactly where 40 is going to be headed towards here. Gets the location. Oh, I thought he was going to go for the armor pickup, but that's still good 10 seconds away. The Lions knows that, but regardless, decent damage being done as Disco again tries to lock down the locations by using that nail gun to do some extra damage. The dire report right up on top, and again, now has the high ground doing more damage with the rockets, but just not enough to justify a full dive into the kill. You can see it there for 40. He's still sitting at about 80 or so HP. Now with a slight armor pickup too, so.
Yeah, Disco wanted to make sure he got the heavy armor after that pickup to keep himself in the strong position, which he is. He should get the kill right here.
Great port right up on top. It's going to cause some confusion, but he is able to follow it through to get himself that second kill. Disco, very chaotic, very up and close and personal player. He's been using those dire reports to get right in front of his opponent a lot. And it's been working almost every single time in his favor as well.
Little mistake here by Disco. See if 40 picks up on it. He left that left that mega health up back there, but he's gonna go run for it now. Hey.
10.
Beautiful fadeaway shot at the end there. Gets himself that final frag.
Prepare to fight.
And claims the second round, so it's all Disco right now as he's claimed 2
Round
rounds.
begins in
I
3.
don't believe he's died yet,
1.
right?
Round 3.
No, he's looking really tough right now. I mean,
Okay.
oh, just
Well, that'll change now.
so much for that. I mean, we jinxed him. Has he died yet? Well, we definitely know he's died now. So,
The dirty
can-
dire
we can-
comes in now when you least expect it.
the dirty dire orb, I like it. I like we can start going with. I call it the cess orb sometimes. You know.
So FortyLions has the advantage now. He is kind of slowed down a bit here, though. You can see only 25 armor and 75 HP, so he's going to be a little bit careful. Doesn't have either pickup, and I'm pretty sure he's going to miss this mega health spawn. You can see Disco delaying it for just a second or two there. Just try and time this a bit better. And 40 not going for the armor pickup either. He's been locked out of both of them now. Didn't even really attempt to go for either one. So he's going to miss a big pickup. So now Disco has every right to take an engagement. I mean, just look at his health bar there on the right side.
Needs to be a little careful without the rocket launcher. It would be the one concern I would have if I was Disco right now.
So Disco is going to jump forward here. As his opponent on lockdown, he's melting his health pool.
Oh.
And there you go. He's able to secure that first kill. Just a dead-on open fight. Now 3-2, possibly 3-1, and there you go. Great follow-ups on these spawn kills by Disco, and unfortunately for FortyLions, just keeps walking into it, it seems. Might even have the third one happen here in a second, too. Great damage being done, and then denies the heal as he goes in for the final rocket shot, and it's another straight shot for Disco to claim map number 1 in 3-0 fashion.
Yeah, looking very much in control. 40's got to work on I think his decision making, you know, fresh off the spawn after death, which is always difficult, especially when your opponent's stacked and putting pressure on you. You know, it doesn't make it easy for you. But if you know, looking at the stats there, you can just kind of see the dominance of Disco with both the rocket launcher and the lightning gun, and even just the major power ups, 9 heavy armors to 1. You know, so those kind of things definitely have a big impact on a match. Well done by Disco.
Yeah, I mean, even right at the end there, we saw it too, where FortyLions gets that first kill, and he's a little bit low. He's a little bit skittish, even on going for just the smaller health ward pickups there. Doesn't really decide to go for either of those final pickups. So really just gave Disco a full stack, a full like tank stack right at the end, and then gave him the right to go in for, I believe it was the second, or no, it was taking down the very first champion that was the very first champion that FortyLions was still on there in that third and final round. And then after that, again, everything kind of like fell apart as it had in previous rounds.
Yeah. It could be, you know, partly nerves, partly lack of confidence, and you know, inexperience. There's a lot of factors at play when you're, you know, trying to learn duel and get better, and especially in a tournament atmosphere. So, you know, everybody's giving it their best, and you know, it's just there's a lot of things to learn. So, I enjoy watching these guys try to figure it out, and it's just all part of the process, that growing process.
Yeah. So our next match, I think they are setting it up now. And we are about to jump into it, so we'll take a look at the draft in a moment here and see if there's going to be any change-ups at all to the selections, or if players are going to remain relatively okay with their previous picks and continue to work with those now on a different map, which I believe we're going to be jumping into Blood Covenant this time.
Prepare for draft.
That will indeed be the case, so let's take a look here. And it's looking relatively similar to what we saw before. In fact, I think it's pretty much the same. No, I don't think we saw the Nyx pick last time. Yeah, a little bit different this time for 40. So he's going to go over to Nyx and the Visor pick, where I think last time he had a Galena and a different one as well. So I think the Nyx and the Visor are new. I don't believe he had those in the previous map.
We'll see. I'm a big fan of Anarchy on this one. It's the movement, and Nyx for that matter. Anything can move around the map really well on this for this one, because the bridge to rail, and I've actually gone from running around with Anarchy. I've made it from the rocket launcher to the bridge in the middle area there, and there's a lot of interesting things you can do with the faster characters on this map.
So we should jump into it here in a moment. Players just getting warmed up and whatnot, making sure that the pings are good this time. And oh, all right. Oh, both of them. Okay.
We need to pick it up.
Well, these guys like to have a little bit of fun, it seems.
It's a good way to start a match. I agree with their process of warm up.
Prepare to fight.
I full-heartedly agree with their
Round
process.
begins.
It's interesting. It's
3,
sacrificial, you know.
1. Round
blood
one,
for the blood
fight.
god right at the start. But let's jump into it. As round one has begun, initial spawns. It's going to be relatively even as we have the next pick there from FortyLions and the Ranger over for Disco. So both are going to be in a relatively even fight. There's not going to be like a huge health pool advantage for one or the other here. But, oh, almost there. As we do see FortyLions almost being taken down right from the start. Does Disco? Okay, there we go. Leaping across the middle of the map to claim the first kill with a rail out of absolutely nowhere.
Nice shot from Disco. I like also at the beginning, you know, the way he started. He got the heavy armor, he had the rail, and he knew his opponent was over there on the Mega Health side, and he just wanted to get that initial shot, whether he came across pillars, which he didn't, or he came across rocket. You know, he checked pillars first, and then he checked rocket next, and got that initial hit, which led to a frag. It's good reading by Disco.
Disco's going to try to make sure he dives right back into this one, too. Ooh, missed the dire jump, though, so couldn't go right for it, and misses the follow-up rail, too. So this is a botched engagement, and he is going to fall back and get the heck out of here, since spawns are still pretty even. And he's low on armor, so he doesn't need to make sure he gets that full pickup.
Stopwatch.
He's going to get a slight delay compared to his opponent, though, so FortyLions is going to have no problem at all jumping right back in and taking away most of that extra armor. However, he's also given up the health spawn here in the process, so now Disco's going to be able to swing right back over. All right, you knock out my armor, I'll steal your health pickup here. And now going in, having a little bit of trouble with these rails. He jumped on that last one, he didn't really need to, so shot just a tad above his opponent there. Ended up missing that shot.
I don't know if that was deliberate or by accident when he left the Mega Health and he wanted to make a play on maybe he wanted to make a play on the heavy armor early. I'm not sure. It looked like he was a little unsure that the Mega Health was going to be up behind him, and Disco certainly wasn't ready for him when he rocket jumped up there, and he took some damage for it.
So Disco, nicely done. The jump pad, bit risky there considering how close his opponent was, but look at the follow-up. It's beautiful. Double rails back to back, and it just deletes the health pool of FortyLions as he's now down to his last champion, still with 3 minutes left in this first round.
Yeah, just good initial rail, and then he was in poor position right there in the open. Pretty easy, pretty standard shots there for Disco. So he's definitely keeping the pressure on 40. Forty can't get any momentum going on it so far in any of these rounds. It's really been really difficult for him. Every time I'm watching his point of view, it's just you can see the struggle.
And Disco just has a full read as well. And the FortyLions, like, look at this, the jump pad read that he did on the last kill right there, where he reads into him trying to go for the rocket spawns, and even right now too, trying to get across. Beautiful follow-up onto the rail there. This is some super smooth gameplay we're seeing from Disco right now. He even segues that into a pickup now, so he's got both the Mega Health along with a full armor pickup. And he's sitting stacked up, so he's going to have no problem at all using his dire to jump back in and engage. Just having a bit of trouble locking down his opponent's location there. And the Rockets really aren't doing a whole lot currently. Over to the LG, though, as he brings him into the blood pit to secure that final kill and claim that round number 1.
Yeah, just had a big stack, was pushing on him, just relentless there in the aggression. You know, he had 40 on his heels, and you smell blood. You smell blood, one for the kill. I mean, 40, like I said, he's really struggling. You can see Disco's putting that pressure on him. So, like, there's always a combination of factors I mentioned with the tournaments. There's nerves, there's the other pressure, you know, the pressure the player's putting on you, and then of course there's your own, you know, knowledge and, you know, what you're learning at the time. You know, what level of Quake are you at, you know, at that time? Because that's a major, you know, factor, of course, in terms of how confident you are and how much pressure you're putting. So.
Yeah, so for FortyLions here, still trying to find a situation where he can actually get an edge over his opponent, but he's just having trouble locking down where his opponent is, let alone picking up his own, you know, series of weapons and whatnot here. He's got the armor spawn currently under his control. And he's currently being very cautious of a push from Disco. In fact, he's left the armor spawn open as a result of that one. Has the rail now, though, so can return a little bit of damage here. But without that armor, he's a little bit squishy currently. Only has just his regular stack. Finally falls back to pick that up, though, so he is going to be okay for right now, as he does look to reset the fight. But not really going to be able to, as he is forced into another engagement, but lines up a nice little rocket there in the choke point to claim the first kill.
Yeah, I see. I was wondering if he did that deliberately earlier with the little delay, and if it was deliberate, he would have went to Mega Health after that kill because he had them both split up pretty good. It's kind of that one of those things. I don't know if he sees these afterwards. 40, if he watch this video again, it's kind of know that, you know, when you do a nice delay like that on an item, it's good to kind of rotate between them rather than the way he did it. And he kind of tried to cut off the map, and he forced an engagement where he could have went and got that Mega Health.
Disco's got great control right now. After 40Lions had the initial advantage here, he's turned it around miraculously. So he's looking really good to control the situation. The perfect refrag. In fact, it almost looked like he was getting at the telefrag for a second there on the stealth, but just missed that one. Was unable to get the follow-up there, so it did take him an extra couple seconds, but still got it now. He's once again got 40Lions into a bit of a tricky situation here. Seems to have control over both the spawns currently, too. I think he tagged a little bit by that rail. It was actually a pretty clutch rail shot. Split second, but there we go. There's the jump outside of teleportation, and then the rocket right to his feet to close out on the second frag. As now he's got back the lead here. Oh, he knows his opponent does have the wall hack enabled there, so 40Lions using his ability. Still can spot his opponent for those few seconds, but it's expired now. So he's going to have to use that intel to the best of his ability, and there we go. There's the lead into it. Now needs to hit it again, but he's so low. He'll get the frag, but he also got traded back. But that was his last champion. So once again, Disco is going to claim the second round here and continue to lead 2-0 in this second map.
And Disco didn't even have a railgun those last 2 kills. I was wondering if he's gonna go over there and get it, but the rockets are good enough for him. So he's been tracking 40, pretty consistently throughout all these rounds. So I expect him to close it out here in this round.
Disco just being a bit of a pain. Didn't realize the stealth got popped, so has to emergency evacuate over here to make sure he still gets that full armor pickup. 40 is not really an aggressive player overall, so Disco doesn't have to worry about that too much, even on the Knicks. Missed the dire up too. I think he forgot the floor was there, so set the back away from that one. But regardless, still a great start for him. A little bit of extra damage, kept 40 on the ropes a tad, and now Disco. He is going to be ready to jump back in. Oh, and the clutch stealth pop as well from 40Lions. Just barely gets him out of that situation. The rocket would have hurt if that hit head on. So he'll escape for right now, but now needs to leap back in. Rail shot, but this is a close fight, and he can't do that with those rockets. So Disco is going to be able to claim that first frag yet again as he goes up 3v2 early on.
Yeah, good initial shot, but just not the weapon you want. Yeah, the reload time is just far too long. Good rockets by Disco, and here's a nice LG on a spawn frag. So looks like Disco's he should be running and gunning right now, fully stacked and looking to close the show.
Yeah, Disco just one more frag needed, and he will be able to move on into round of 16 here. That will be his stopping point for the day, actually. Remember, once he gets to that point, he's good. He'll just have to worry about his next match on Sunday. So definitely some good stuff from Disco. I mean, looking like a very competent player currently with his movement and the way that he's actually reading into his opponents as well. Very, very smart with the way that he's been able to lock down some of these frags. So interested to see more from him in the coming couple days here. So hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of him tomorrow too. We have the sacrifice open at that point as well.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier I was looking at his profile to see his earlier matches from week 1 and week 2, and he beat Glow, beat Nick. I mean, he beat Gills. I mean, he lost to Laz and Griffin, who are both really good players. So I expect we're gonna see him later.
And there we go. Disco does claim it, folks. Quick 3-0 from him once again. Claims both the maps. So overall set score of 6-0, and Disco does take it in a map score of 2-0. Again, the pickups showing through there as well. As you can see, that overall dominated on both the Mega Health and the full armor pickups. Just in terms of damage, too, pretty much double, a little under double, but pretty much double what 40Lions was able to do overall. Just dominated, especially on the rockets there. 1448 compared to only 725.